All right.
All right. It's great that we have all of our candidates here who are running, and we've got people who want to talk to them and ask questions. We have a packed schedule because we have many candidates. So what I'm going to do is just do a very short announcement, and then we're going to start the program. So the first thing I want to point out is this little piece of paper on your chairs. There's helpful hints in that if you're not sure what district you live in with all these changes, there's a website you can go right to and put your address in, and you'll find out all your representatives where you vote, or not where you vote, who you're voting for. And then we recommend, it has been recommended that you verify that the Secretary of State has your voter registration. It's a good idea. And then we all are anticipating the petition, the abortion petition someday. So when we collect signatures, it's going to be, a couple of us talked to the election board, and they said the most important thing you need to do is print your name very clearly. And then the second thing, and it doesn't matter if you do John Doe or John D. Doe or whatever, that part doesn't matter, just print it clearly so they can find you, and then sign like you normally do. If you normally do script, don't print your name, and they'll do the signature matching. So that's on there, you can take it with you. The St. Louis County holiday party is going to be an ugly sweater caucus contest. And so it's on December 13th, the doors open at 5:30. It's in the Teamsters Hall local on Elizabeth Avenue. It's sort of down by Dale and by the big shopping area down there near Clayton. And it's only $10 to everybody. So come to that. And then we've got a Chesterfield Township holiday party going on at Bar Louie. Feel free to bring friends if you like, which is going to be informal, and it's going to go between 6 and 8 p.m. and that's in Chesterfield Township. Pardon me? On December. Oh, thank you. December 12th. Oh, thanks. I forgot to put that. December 12th. It's our normal second Tuesday of the month. So we're going to start with our candidates, and we're going to have to run a tight ship here. You'll each have 6 minutes to kind of tell who you are, and then we're going to go through the slate, tell about your district and things about yourself. Sue is going to be the timekeeper, and she's going to let you know when you've got 30 seconds left and when you have to stop. So pay attention to the sign. Gretchen Banger is our representative from HD70. Why don't you come up? And she'll tell you why she's here, and then we'll get started.
Thank you for having me. This is an awesome turnout. We have several of our townships combined up in North County, and we don't get this many people with 4 townships together. So this is wonderful, and wonderful to see so many Democrats here out in Chesterfield. So I appreciate you having me come and speak. I presently am serving my 7th year out of 8 years, so next year will be my last year in the legislature. I served in the 69th district, and with redistricting, they carved that out, and that was unincorporated St. Louis County, Florissant, a little bit of Hazelwood. Now I represent Hazelwood, Bridgeton, and 2 streets in Florissant. So kind of touch up here to your rep, who is District 89, which is Paula Brown, who actually still lives in my district. She's not going to be running again, but the person that's running in her place is here, who's wonderful. I've known her for years, so glad to see you, Connie, and I know she'll have some great words to say. The legislature has definitely been a challenge, being in the super minority, but we've made some accomplishments, basically working on relationships with the other side of the aisle. Believe it or not, there are some decent people on that side and some decent people on our side, and a big group together gets some things done. So, and they're frustrated too. Which hopefully they're frustrated enough to get rid of some of their crazies, and we can get a bigger majority and maybe at least have a fighting chance. But we work as hard as we can up in the legislature. I also serve as the Minority Caucus Secretary. I've held that position for 3 years. With that, I've definitely worked on relationships within our party as well as relationships on the other side of the aisle. I also serve as the Midwestern Director for Women in Government, which is a countrywide organization, which is great because you hear of struggles and successes and things in all the different states, so that's been fun too. I serve on several committees: administration and accounts, local government, downsizing state government, which we call it shovel the crap committee. All this stuff, we're not downsizing. Yeah, it's not a good thing. I serve on workforce and transportation infrastructure. So I also serve on appropriations for elementary and secondary education for the conference committee. So I have a wide variety of things that I've served on many committees throughout the years. Had a great time, love people out in this area, all throughout our state. I've spent many hours canvassing in this area for Melissa Greenstein and some other folks, and I'm willing to come out and pound the pavement out here because we've got to get more Democrats, and like I said, I'm super excited to see so many people here. So if you have any questions, I'm free to answer them, or I'll step away so we can keep things moving.
All good.
So,
Thanks so
all
much.
right. Yeah, thank you.
So our first person will be John Keene for HB2. We're going to do the federal first, and we'll work down from the state into the House, Senate to the House. So come on down, John.
Thank you for coming, number one. I just want to say thank you to the Chesterfield Township Democrats for hosting these events, this one once in the past. It's been very meaningful that they are providing resources for Democrats in this area, that they are hosting events to inform Democrats and any voter that wants to show up. Very, very, very helpful. And I, as a candidate, now my fourth time, I'm very appreciative of the work that you folks are doing out here and continue to do. I'm John Keene, and I am running for Congress in the 2nd Congressional District, which, I didn't bring it back, now includes Franklin, the lower half of Warren, in St. Louis County. We're in Eureka, over to Oakville, Afton area, River des Peres, up to Maplewood, Richmond Heights, not Webster, not Clayton, not U City. Going down Clayton Road, we get some town and country, some Ladue, going up into Creve Coeur, along Olive Boulevard, south of Olive Boulevard, over to Maryland Heights, down to where we are in Eureka. In St. Charles County, essentially it is the rural parts of St. Charles County, so think of Highway 64, or 40 as I think of it, as it goes across the river, and everything left of that, plus O'Fallon north of Highway K. There's a little strip there of O'Fallon. I actually am from St. Charles, born and raised in St. Charles, a 5th generation Missouri native. My family migrated here in the 1800s to pursue being farmers and working, and they ended up being politicians and judges and a lot of educators. So I have parents who are retired educators and a grandparent who's a retired educator, and aunts and cousins and uncles and cousins who are retired educators. That is my family history. For 100 years, my family's been teaching kids in public schools in this state. I, on the other hand, am a so I have been a professional musician my entire life, adult life, going on about 40 years or so. And I have taught, I produce, I write songs, I have toured, I have been in big acts, little acts, whatever I needed to do to make money playing music. But for the last 16 years, I've also acted as a foster provider, as a legal guardian, and raising kids that aren't mine, that become mine through the process of being a parent, of doing the parenting that they needed. So my interest in the politics has been trying to address the issues that traumatized and neglected children so badly need. Often we're dependent upon our government agencies, our healthcare providers, our behavioral facilities, our skilled nursing facilities, now that I have adults, law enforcement, the judicial system, et cetera, to help us as caregivers, as parents, as guardians, to take care of these folks. My experience is from 2007 to now, as we have a lot of legislators and legislation and policy and budget issues that make it very difficult for people like me and my wife and other people like us to take care of our family, to take care of people who need someone to take care of them. And quite honestly, even there are a lot of grown folks that are, say, older, they don't have a lot of money when they get older, and they have a healthcare crisis. So we had that in our house as well, where we were caregivers. My in-laws, we both passed in 2020 during COVID as a result of a number of things, not the least of which is a lot of faults in our healthcare system. I've been doing this for 6 years, okay? I've been in politics for 6 years. I've been in these spaces a lot. And we can talk about what we hate about the other side. Ann Wagner, Andrew Koenig, or whoever it's going to be, you know, it's going to be the other person. These people, these Republicans, these MAGA Republicans, give us a lot to be frustrated about. I have a black wife, I have black children, I have gay and married adult family members, friends, colleagues, etc., etc. It is frustrating to have people in our government who are openly harassing and violating and harming my children, my wife, my family, people I love, who I care for, my neighbors. Yes, that is frustrating. And Wagner just voted, as you know, to elect Mike Johnson to be the Speaker of the U.S. House. Okay? Clearly a very extreme MAGA individual. These people, including Ann Wagner, are against reproductive rights. They want to institute a nationwide ban on abortion. They're not good on labor. They're not good on education. They're not good on civil rights. They're not good on voting rights. They're not. But what are we fighting for? We're fighting for better schools, paying our teachers. That's the stuff we're fighting for. Making sure that if you're black, white, whatever, you have an opportunity in this country. And I see I got my 30-second. My rep, once again, I'm asking for your support. I'm running for Congressman, the 2nd Congressional District, and I talk a lot. It's hard to fit it all in 5 minutes or 6 minutes. But you can find me online at www.keeneyformissouri.com. You can give today at keeney2024.com, and you can find me online at Keeney for Missouri. Thank you so much, and you can talk to me afterwards.
Should we have people put these
Yeah,
on
if
their
you
lapel?
want to, if you don't want to use the, it's okay if you're speaking right there, but and if you don't drop it like that. But if you're gonna, if you want to speak anywhere else, if you just put that on your lapel. I should have told John. Sorry, John.
Wow.
I did hear it. I got it all. I made sure. It's out there in the cloud.
Ellen, you are next. You are running for Missouri Attorney
I
General.
am doing that.
Come on forward.
Hello. Hi everybody. All right, there's a little mic up here.
Yep.
Oh, I see it. Oh, it's got like little lights and everything on there too. That's nice. I can just clip it and I won't mess with your,
All good.
we're okay? Doing good? He's like in the zone right now. He's gone. Well, for all of you, I'll just talk to you all instead. He'll figure it out. Yeah, okay, we're
You
good.
got it.
We're good. So my name's Eli Gross. I'm running for Attorney General of Missouri because, boy, do we need a new Attorney General of Missouri. I didn't realize this because you told me not to bring a map because it's, you know, Missouri. Yeah, but actually, I realized I did. So on these little things, and I can pass them out, but it actually appears in multiple places, and you can find all of them while you're looking through. But yeah, it's a very big state. I'm very excited to be running. For those of you who do not know, I swear I'm not 18 years old. I'm a real attorney. People are like, are you sure? I have to wear the ties, otherwise I look like I'm 17. Then we have some serious problems. Now, I'm the former Assistant Attorney General of our state. Back when we had a functioning Attorney General for our state, that's been a long time. And I currently am a civil rights and government transparency attorney. So if I'm a little low energy today, I apologize. I have an 8th Circuit oral argument on Thursday that I just changed the argument about on the way over here, and I'm sure I'll change it 2 more times before Thursday comes to. It's for me, civil rights and civil liberties that we have here in Missouri are so important. It's the reason why I got involved as an attorney in the first place. And it's one of the major reasons why I'm running for Attorney General right now. As you can see on those little cards, I've got a lot of different ideas. We need to have a civil rights division in our state. Many states have them already. We don't have one. We need to change that. And as Attorney General, I will start our first civil rights division in the history of Missouri. We will have one at the Attorney General's office to protect our rights in all types of places, from housing to health care, I mean, there's so many different areas that civil rights touches. So many of them in our justice system. Every day we have these problems. I'm a very big proponent of the Sunshine Law, some of you might know. There was this big case that was argued at the Missouri Supreme Court by me. It's called Gross v. Parson. I'm the gross guy on that one. And it allows you and I to see what our government is doing, participate in public meetings, and see public records. Unfortunately, our governor wasn't a real big fan of that case, and he had a lawyer who was working really hard to reverse that case. I had to go testify in Jefferson City to wonderful folks in the Senate. The person who was the point guy for that is currently our Attorney General, Andrew Bailey. He was appointed by the governor to take over. We have a lot of problems with the Sunshine Law right now. I believe that our Attorney General should be our attorney, not the attorney for the governor, not the attorney just for these state agencies and state officials, but for the people of the state of Missouri. We should have input into what our attorney is doing for us. And so that is a big commitment I have for you. Not only enforcing the Sunshine Law, not only making sure that folks who are stealing our money and are involved in public corruption are actually held accountable, but also to hold town halls so that everybody in our state has input into what our Attorney General is doing. And so that folks know who our Attorney General is. That should be kind of some of the basic stuff, but a lot of folks in our state don't even know what that office does. And we're going to change that too. And some of you have seen this because it's on my truck outside. And my dog usually comes with me everywhere. She's a puppy mill rescue. We are going to go after puppy mills in this state. The Attorney General's office should be doing that. We already voted on this issue. It's about time we start doing something about it. And one big issue that's impacting, I know especially North County right now, is all this issue with nuclear waste and radiation. We have these same issues with Pruitt, Idaho, what happened in the city as well, and all over our state. You see these corporate polluters coming in, destroying our rivers, destroying our communities. I will bring back the conservation division that Jay Nixon had, that Josh Hawley got rid of, to make sure we're protecting our state, our natural resources. Bottom line is we need an Attorney General who represents us. I'm running to be your Attorney General, and I'd love to have your vote. So I've got even more stuff back there, but you've got my cards now, so you're fine. Find all the Missouris, and I'll stick around. I'll talk to you soon. So thank you all. I appreciate it. I almost walked away.
Pass the baton.
See, that's right. You get really used to that thing. It's nice.
That's a good hot mic.
Yeah, right?
So you don't have to look yourself up on the map, because the next candidate we're going to introduce here is your candidate, and hopefully will be your next senator. Fearless Joe Peerless. Come on out.
So I'm not used to doing this, so I'm going to have some notes. My name is Joe Peerless, as Maureen said, and I'm running for the Missouri State Senate, Senate District 15, seat currently held by Andrew Koenig, who, fortunately for all of us, is termed out. District 15, as you see on the map, covers a lot of West St. Louis County. I didn't want to take time to list every single municipality because I'd run out in my 5 minutes, but there's a lot. We also include House Districts 87, 88, 89, 90, 98, 100, 101, and 110. I've been a volunteer with the American Red Cross for 37 years, serving in many different capacities. I'm currently a member of the Missouri St. Louis Disaster Action Team, where we respond to single-family fires. I'm running in this race, ladies and gentlemen, because the Missouri State Senate is on fire. And I want to help bring calm to the chaos that we have in Jefferson City. I'm sure many of you are wondering why I'm running for political office at my age after 4 years of enjoying retirement. Well, there's some days I actually ask myself the same question when I've been spending 3 to 4 hours on the phone making calls. So I have a piece of paper in my office that has 4 columns on it. And these are questions that people ask me when I call them. The first column is, why are you doing this? Don't you have better things to do? The second column is, thank you for running. We need you in Jefferson City. The third column is Brenda, my wife, really okay with this? And the last column is it too late to withdraw? But seriously, I'm all in to win this race. It is because we, that is all of us, can do better in this state. Like you, I love this state. but I'm troubled by what I see is going on in Jefferson City. There is too much divisiveness, not enough consensus building, and not enough reaching across the aisle to solve problems. At present, Missouri is in a race to the bottom, and unfortunately, we're winning that race, and that's not good for us. Also, it's not as if I'm new to Missouri politics. I have crisscrossed this state, meeting with elected officials and administrators in different towns where Drury Hotels wanted to build new properties. I know the state. Furthermore, I have also supported Democratic candidates in the past and have been involved with an organization that is working hard to build up the infrastructure to get Missouri back to being purple and ultimately to be blue. I've been a problem solver my entire career, whether it's helping clients while an attorney at Greensfelder or building hotel projects at Drury Hotels, whether it's been helping the American Red Cross transform their governance from what it used to be, or helping national societies around the world like the Chilean Red Cross solve their problems. I feel an overwhelming sense of duty to bring these skill sets to Missouri at a critical moment in our history and help flip this Senate seat from red to blue. Fewer Republicans mean less gridlock, more progress, and the return of common sense ideas like reducing gun violence, restoring reproductive rights, investing in public education, protecting workers' rights, and protecting Missouri's initiative petition process, which Republicans want to gut. We have a path to victory. Judy Bush Valentine received 49% of the vote in the midterm election. This Senate district has trended toward Democrats faster than any Senate district in the state. This is the highest turnout Senate district in the state, so it's pretty much all persuasion, and I'm going to help lead the Democrats in this district to flip the seat. This will be a very expensive race. I am told it could cost up to $2 million. I'm asking you to donate at fearlessformissouri.com and to volunteer. We have lots of canvassing to do with 147,000 registered voters in this district. Tonight I'm asking each one of you to find at least one other supporter of our cause. You may think that just adding one additional person is not a big deal, but ladies and gentlemen, it really is. With every new person we bring to our campaign, we bring their entire network of friends and influentials. This is called the network effect. The power of our network grows exponentially with each new member. My nickname is Fearless Joe Peerless. When I win this Senate seat, I will fearlessly step up and stand up for you in Jefferson City as a new, common-sense adult in the room, something that is sorely lacking in Senate District 15. Thank you.
Hey, Colin Lovett is going to come. He's no stranger to us. He came really close to winning last year, and he's going to do it this year.
You just toss it. Yeah.
Can you hear me on the mic? You didn't cut
That's
out?
fine, as long as you stick around.
Oh yeah, I can stick around here. Here, I'll just stay here. So hi everyone. My name is Colin Lovett, and I'm running for Missouri House District 100, which is Baldwin and Winchester, and a little bit more of unincorporated St. Louis County. And as Maureen mentioned, I did run in the last election, and we came incredibly close. So I have a math degree, and so I'll just give you a couple of numbers. So there were 26,500 registered voters in our district, and of those, 10,000 people didn't vote at all. And granted, it was an off-year election, but despite that, I only lost by 181 votes, which really goes to show that every single vote counts. And it's so important that despite, we all are a little bit shy about talking to our neighbors and our friends about politics, but it's going to be more important this election than ever to talk to your neighbor, talk to the folks at the vet and at your job and wherever you go about how important it is to get out and make your voice heard, because we came super close. So a couple other numbers to note. There's 163 House seats in the state, in the Missouri House. We only need to keep what we have and flip, I think it's 3 of them, right? To break the Republican supermajority. That would mean that we would have a Democrat in the room when they're passing emergency bills and legislation. We would be able to stop some of the egregiously bad stuff that they're trying to pass in Missouri. And that's going to be critically important from a House standpoint. We have things like the initiative petition reform that Republicans are going to try and push through and make it harder for us to put things on the ballot, like puppy mills, like Medicaid and healthcare expansion, like medical marijuana, like abortion, for example, which is going to be coming, and a $15 minimum wage and earned family leave time. So it's super important to not have our voices taken away, and to flip more House seats is going to be one of the things that helps us stop that. Little bit of background about me. I started early in my career in education. I worked for a special school district, and then now I work in healthcare, where I've been for a little over 15 years. One of the reasons that I'm running for office, I guess that's important to note, is really to serve as a voice of reason in the state of Missouri, to protect the rights and the dignity of everyone here, and to be a voice of reason in an echo chamber of otherwise not so reasonable voices. And when I was young, I grew up in this district, so I'm from Baldwin. I went to Parkway South. I didn't have people who represented me and looked like me who were in office because when I was a kid, I didn't think I'd be legally allowed to get married. I didn't think I'd be able to have kids. And now I'm happy to report that I'm happily married to my husband, and we have a 7th. And eventually, don't tell my parents, more on the way. So, I would ask humbly for your vote, for those of you who are at least in Baldwin and Winchester, or if you know folks in Baldwin and Winchester, tell them about it. I would ask for your help in joining the campaign. Help knock on doors. My district overlaps Joe's district, and all of us Democrats are going to be working hard together to flip the seats that we can to win back as much territory. So last time was my first time running for anything, and I learned a couple of things, and one of which was we really went from being a blue and a purple state to being a red state when term limits took effect at the end of the 2000s, and we didn't have a very strong bench strength built up. And so what happened is around 2008, 2010, you started to see this flip of a majority of Democrats to a majority of Republicans. And so now is the time. We've got really good candidates in this election where we need to get behind them and support them, help them knock on doors, help them make phone calls, give their campaigns money. That's a really unfortunate reality of running for office, is it costs a lot of money. And what that money does is it helps us talk to voters. It helps us buy ads, it helps us buy mailers, it helps us hire campaign staff to go door to door, because as much as I'd love to knock on all 26,000 registered voters' doors, I can't do it alone. So again, I would ask for your support. You can learn more about me at www.voteloveit.com. All of the socials at Loveit4Mo, and I'll stick around and talk to anybody if you have any questions. So I would ask for your vote, and let's flip some seats.
One of the things I neglected to mention when we were talking with Joe Peerless, if you remember, I think the last meeting, we talked about the Senate campaign, that we need to keep the 3 seats we already have and to flip 2. Well, Joe is one of those, and that will break the Senate, if we can do that, the Senate supermajority. So it's so important. Okay, next we have Eric Morse. There you are. He'll come up and introduce himself. House District 89.
Hi, everybody. I don't have a lapel.
Probably if you just, oh, that's good, yeah.
That'll work fine.
I want to introduce myself. Probably need to do that, even a lot of you haven't seen me or met me. And I also want to introduce the 89th District. I'm Eric Morse. I was born in the 89th District a little over half a century ago. Raised here, went to church here, went to school here, moved away for about a quarter century, and now I'm back in a very different 89th District than the one I grew up in. I'm a single parent of 4 kids. I have them full-time. I like to say, when people ask me why I decided to subject myself and my family to this undertaking for the next year of my life, I like to say I have 4 reasons for running. And their names are Ellie, Darby, and Owen, and Eli. In February, Ellie and Darby were a few yards down the hall from a child who carried a gun into their school. I knew what I was getting myself into as far as Missouri politics go, but I was not prepared for that. And I've been politically charged and motivated and engaged in just about every way that I thought I could be. But I haven't really made any change. And so this felt like the next step. Okay, that's who I am. You all have been, I take it, around St. Louis, West County politics for a long time. You're going to say, Eric, I know the 89th district. You're going to say, Eric, and two of you in particular, are going to say, I know the 89th district very well. It's about 41% Democrat. And it's been represented at least twice in a row by ethics-plagued speakers of the House. And I gotta say, this is my hometown, and don't talk about my hometown that way. I've been knocking on doors for the last 7-8 months, and the 89th district that we see when we read the news, we hear about Dean Plocker, when we hear about, I don't want to go into John Deal, is not the 89th district I see at the doors, especially post-Dobbs. I'm knocking on doors, and people are very happy to see me, very happy to talk about what's important to them, hear what's important to me. I want to share two quick stories. I'm not quite sure how I'm doing on time, but I want to share two quick stories that happened to me in the 89th district with members of the 89th district who identify as Republican and have never voted for a Democrat. One was, we were at Starbucks over at Clayton and Mason. A friend of mine who I grew up with, who is now a conservative Christian, works for a conservative Christian school. Some of you have heard this story. We were just catching up, as people do. Didn't matter that she was a conservative Christian. Didn't matter that I'm a Democrat, also a Christian. But, you know, neighbors talk to neighbors. We didn't have to be bound by this political tribalism. We were chatting, catching up. And we have kind of an unwritten agreement that we're not going to talk about politics. But about 2 tables over, there was a man with a handgun holstered while he sat drinking his coffee. And I couldn't leave it there. I had to say, is this okay with you? I know how you vote. You know how the people you vote for vote. And she was appalled. She said, no, that's absolutely not okay with me. That is not okay with me. And the next time we got together for coffee, she said, I'm not going back to that Starbucks. Went to a different place. So there's a sad coda to this story, which is that she works at Westminster Christian Academy in the 89th district. And they are the sister school to the Covenant School in Nashville that just a few months later had a terrible, deadly school shooting. And she lost some personal friends there. This is not a partisan issue. It's not a Republican or a Democratic issue. We are all humans, we're all neighbors, and that's what I'm seeing when I knock on doors. I coached my son's middle school basketball team last year. I co-coached it with someone who had a lot more experience than I do coaching basketball. And also a conservative guy, used to quote Fox News to me as we would stand, I'm going to be fast, as we would stand on the sidelines. On that team, we had a transgender kid. And that kid was awesome. And my co-coach was as supportive of that kid and as joyful when that kid did great and as punitive when that kid did not do great. Treated that kid just like everybody else. I never saw an ounce of favoritism or discrimination towards that kid. The conversations that are going on in the media and in Washington, D.C. are not the conversations that are going on in the doors. I know you all know West County politics better than I do. I know you all know about House District 89. But I'm here to tell you that we have a real opportunity to not have an ethics-plagued Speaker of the House. I can promise you, if you elect me, I probably won't be the Speaker of the House. I gotta go. I'm morse4mo@.com. Thanks very much.
home was redistricted out of her district. So she and Connie, who's going to be coming up here next, have worked it out that we have a great candidate now to run in the new Paula Brown's district, which will be HD 87. So, come on up. Connie, you're on.
Yes, so my name is Connie Steinmetz, and I am running in the 87th district, which currently is Paula Brown's district. However, when they redistrict her district, her home is not in that district anymore. So Paula approached me a couple of months back. I had just retired from Hazelwood School District, and she said, how's it going, Connie? I'm like, oh, I'm loving it, you know. And she's like, have you ever thought of running for public office? And I said, yeah, actually I have. So we started the conversation. And our backgrounds are very similar. Paula was a teacher in Hazelwood School District. I was a teacher in Hazelwood School District. She was the president of Hazelwood NEA, which is a teachers union. I was the president for the last 6 years of Hazelwood NEA, the teachers union. Somebody was talking about the radio waste. Thank you. I knew that didn't sound right.
There's a lot of radio.
And I don't know if you heard about Jana Elementary School was forced to close last year. That was underneath my presidency. And let me tell you, it was very, very hard to go through that. For those students and for all of those staff members to have to be placed into other buildings, it was heartbreaking. It truly, truly was. It was the decision of the school board to do that. It's done, and everybody is in their new schools. But it was a long, hard, heartbreaking decision. I just drew a blank.
You're among friends.
Okay. I was elected as a Democratic Committee woman of Lewis and Clark Township many years ago. And I enjoyed that job very much. My mother-in-law, Kay Steinmetz, was a state rep for 18 years before term limits. And she was a very, very big proponent, very big friend of education. And I appreciated all of the work that she did when she was in the House. I was born and raised in Kansas City, Kansas. I was born with a Union spoon in my mouth. My dad was a locomotive engineer, and he worked for the Kansas City Terminal. And he was the president of their local also. So I heard all about how important it is to be a union member, to be for the working families. So I'm happy that I was able to do that in Hazelwood School District as the president of the teachers union. I also find it very important community. We have some great communities. I will be representing Maryland Heights, Chesterfield, and Creekport. And those are all great communities. And I want to see them stay as great communities or improve wherever we would need to improve. I plan on start knocking on doors after the holidays. I don't have any literature yet. I do have small maps. I ordered them from St. Louis, but they didn't come in, unfortunately. But I do have small ones with a big magnifying glass. So if you're not sure, hopefully I can help you with that. As I said, my mother-in-law was a state rep. And her slogan was, Kay cares. And Kay Steinmetz really did care. She really did. And so I asked her, and even though I'm divorced from her oldest son, I'm still very, very close to the Steinmetzes. Like I do Christmas with them. I do everything with them. And she was the first one to donate to my campaign. And I asked her, may I use your logo? And she said yes. And so I'm going to do Connie Cares. Because I do care about each and every one of you and all of the students and children in the state of Missouri. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm up for the challenge. Thank you.
Now we will be able to do Q&A. Should we have just everybody come up here and you can throw questions at the candidates? Would that be good? Actually, I have a question. Let me get a microphone so that I can, yes.
I'd just like to say I'm amazed what a deep bench. We are so blessed to have a deep bench of good players, and I think 24 is going to be a great year.
Okay, I'm happy to walk around with a microphone.
Okay, yeah, I was just, exactly, I couldn't get it right.
Okay.
You know that segment
Yeah,
that goes on and
yeah.
couldn't get it on.
Okay.
So it'll be
All right,
fine with it.
so we're gonna do it this way.
It goes like a pizza.
We'll put this up here.
As long as everybody's, yeah, it should be
You
fine.
all talk loud. I do have a question for you all that came to me. When you have a, like if Joe has an overlapping district or, and you're doing canvassing, is it possible to have talk about two candidates? Is that something that you can do in the overlapping area? I don't know if it's
Yes.
even possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I think that we as candidates have to be a little careful about the word coordination.
Yes.
But as canvassers, you absolutely can talk about candidates up and down the bench. So
Okay.
if you're in a district that is in mine and Joe's, for example, or in Erickson and Joe's, for example, then you can talk about both. You can talk about the Attorney General, you can talk about U.S. Senate President, you can talk about all of it.
Great.
And sometimes it's helpful. I know I've been on the doors with 2 or 3 people's literature, and they'll say, you know, and I'll be talking about the first person, you know, that I'm talking about, and then I'll say, these other 2 folks, I'd like to introduce myself, you know, on behalf of them as well. And I'm like, oh, I know that person, and they know those other, okay, I'm in for all those people. So it is helpful.
And I'll just add one more thing. If you are canvassing at the doors, and let's say for higher office, you're canvassing for president, or you're canvassing for Senate, it's so helpful to also name drop some of the other folks in those districts if you know them. Because one of the things I've heard that happens is that people will vote, and they'll vote for president, they'll vote for Senate, you know, they may even vote for some of the statewide, and they'll stop voting on their ballot. And if they don't cast, a vote for those names, then we don't get the votes. So it is very helpful.
Who else wants to ask? Go ahead.
So there are core issues that you all mentioned for the most part tonight. How can we make sure that we message strongly across the board in a consistent, coordinated way? Because these are winning issues according to Fred Wellman yesterday.
Well, I will say, I think messaging has been a struggle for the Democratic Party, and I know that folks that are, you know, in the loop and trying to, you know, work with everybody to get these seats filled, to bring back some of our Democrats, you know, that's something that we've talked about is messaging. The Republicans know how to message. They do. They just really have it down. So that's something that I know a lot of folks are looking at, you know, maybe just 3 or 4 core things that we're all on the same level with, not 15 or 16 different things. But guns for sure is one thing. And I have no problem with people having a gun as long as they have passed their conceal and carry. They don't have it out in public. And, you know, we tried to pass an amendment on the House floor for kids aged 12 and under not to open carry on the streets of St. Louis. And it failed. So we went back the week after and tried to pass an amendment for age 6 and under, not to be able to open carry in the streets of St. Louis. And it failed.
Oh my.
I mean, it's crazy. So, and I think a lot of people, you know, they're not one way or the other, but let's have some rules and limits. So.
Yes.
My wife's a teacher. This issue is paramount to her. Neither one of us were political. I'm a 3rd generation union man, so they brought the fight to me, right? My wife worries about these children that she teaches, and this issue of military weapons being distributed among the public. Now, this is an easy issue to beat them up with. This is easy. Not military weapons, not among the public. No society's ever done that. They have bastardized the Second Amendment. Beat them with it, right? Beat them with it, like a drum, like a rented mule. Beat them with it.
I'll just respond to both and just say it's helpful to us as candidates. We don't know the right messaging on everything. If you see something that you think resonates, either with you, your neighbors, or otherwise, tell us. Let us know. You know, we've got email addresses. We've got, you know, ways to get in touch with us. If you think there's a winning strategy, let us know what it is and let us add that to our arsenal. And I would, you know, recommend to all the candidates, if you see that there's something John's doing that is smart, I'm gonna probably do that too. And, you know, because at the end of the day, we are all in this together, and we do need to take a lesson from the Republican playbook of condense it down to a bumper sticker, make it easy to remember, and, you know, we've gotta find a way to do that with our messaging too.
Yes, bumper stickers, you're exactly right. Not military weapons. No, that's out. That's out. And we can do this on all of the issues, whether it's women's choice. You know, I don't want to see desperate women put in jail.
Yeah.
That's an easy bumper sticker, right? And we don't need military weapons among the civilian population. And
Our kids hiding under desks. I mean,
let's
what's
ask
going
the
on?
victims. If I carried a sign in the Women's March, and I wore my whites because I wanted the women to see that there was a construction worker that got the message, okay? And I was so impressed. I see all these women, and I'm like, holy shit, here we go. It's on now. And in my editorial to the West Magazine, I said, a strong, smart, powerful women showing the rest of us how it's done. And I meant labor. We need to get labor involved in this. Joe's doing the heavy lifting for us. All we have to do is explain it to them. They're dumb. I'm one of them. They're dumb. We sat at the back of the class, but if you break it down, if you explain to them, this is your future. Unions built Missouri, right? Unions built Missouri. My father supported a family of 4 kids on one salary. So those days are behind us, thanks in large part to the Republican Party. Good Lord, have mercy, PATCO. And then it's been downhill ever since. I've got union brothers voting Republican. So, we have to consolidate our message. We have to convince the labor movement that their interests are served by Democrats.
I agree, and that's a big issue. I knocked on a lot of doors this last election cycle. There was probably 8 or 9 that I knocked on the door. They said, proud union, person. I'm on the door. I'm like, oh, it's fantastic. What union are you in? We're talking. And I'm like, you a Democrat or Republican? And it says D on there. I said, I'm a Democrat. Get off my lawn. I'll never vote for a damn Democrat. Okay. And that happened 8 or 9 times, and I was very shocked. I never had that happen before, but I was like, wow. So, and I've talked to a lot of union people, and it is an issue with, I don't know what happened with the unions. They need to know that the Democrats are the ones working for them.
Jay Nixon kept it strong. Jay Nixon was good for
Right.
the unions.
Right. We were strong for a while, and then you could see a tail off, and like every union across this country. But I think if we started perhaps with the retirees, because we've got a generation of men that are retiring that saw it both ways, right? I've seen what unions can do, and I've seen what Republicans have done to this country. So if we speak to the retirees, maybe we get our foothold that way. The younger generations are going to be harder to reach. I can tell you that.
I don't mean to interrupt, Sue. I think you had your hand up too.
I do. I think when we're talking about a message that resonates, what you said, because we have a supermajority of Republicans in this state, we're unable to pass a law that keeps a 6-year-old from openly carrying a gun. I think that message will resonate with anybody who has had any contact with the school district, who has raised a child, who has a grandchild. I think that's a great message.
Yeah, and you know who voted and who didn't vote. I mean, it's public record. I mean, they're all, they press a button. So,
And I think that would resonate in every county, every district, in
Yeah,
this area.
I can't imagine, any sensible person, and I know plenty of people that have firearms and take care of them and store them and use them for hunting or skeet shooting, whatever. But yeah, for a 6-year-old,
But there are other issues that tie into that. Universal background checks, red flag laws. Those are simple. We just have to keep the messaging simple and explain why it's important to break the supermajority in the House, the supermajority in the Senate, to bring some common sense out to Jefferson City.
And it's important, I think, to listen too. You're not gonna win everybody over on arguing every minutia of every issue. Find out where they have common ground, and that's where we can win people over.
And it can be done. My 93-year-old mother has never voted Republican or Democratic in her life, and she's voting Democratic next year.
I think you're gonna see a lot of women voting. Which is good.
So if I can comment on that as well. It has been alluded to by, I think, almost everybody, how important it is that we make connections in our community. I am running for Congress, and there are, I believe, 26 House districts under CD2, 7 Senate districts. I've run in red districts 3 times where a Democrat didn't have a prayer to win. In 98% of the state, a Democrat, 90% of the area of the state, Democrat is not winning and has not won for quite a while. But remember that a win is 50% plus 1. So if we do these things that your candidates and you folks are talking about to incrementally make some progress, we need to get those state house candidates. If you know somebody who is interested in running for state house, BMHTCC, and it starts today, Blue Missouri can be very supportive of those house candidates if we can find them. I have still a few open house districts as well. A lot of folks are talking about relational organizing, which again has been alluded. It has a name. Relational organizing essentially being those connections that we have in our lives. It could be a colleague, a family member, people we haven't talked to. The COVID generation plus Trump plus everybody else has made it, I think people are very uncomfortable talking to people they don't know about things they don't know regarding labor. Out in my area, Franklin County, Warren County, they vote very strongly Republican, and the idea of a D is you're killing our babies and taking our guns, and they don't care. But again, if we're thinking strategically, statewide, he needs X number of votes. Me starting at 43.7. He's talking about 41. He almost won. Joe is about 43-ish too. If we can make up those numbers with those sensible people and find them and give them the right messaging, clear messaging, and talk to them and establish a rapport with these people, I think that we can pull some wins and flip some districts, and then we can get these things passed in our state legislature, and we can hold the House nationally, and hopefully, well, get the House, and hold the Senate. So, but all this is all connected from your House candidates, your Senate candidates, and I just want to add municipal candidates. The Republicans, this was alluded to as well, the Republicans have sowed those seeds in our municipal elections year after year after year. So you see things come from the grassroots all the way up to the top. It's in my neighborhood, it's in our Board of Education meetings, and then Ted Cruz is talking about it on TV. We have to make sure that we are finding our municipal candidates that we are starting to file next month, support them in April, and then when we come back around in August and November, make sure that we're getting those people engaged in our candidates as well, so that we can get these House seats flipped, these Senate seats flipped, hopefully a congressional seat, a new Attorney General, this guy is the man right here, and we can make those changes. When we win, and we get this change that we want. When we lose, we don't. We just lose. So there's a lot to lose this year, and I just encourage you to listen to these folks, and we're going to listen to you. If you have something to say to us, call, text, email, ask, please, because we need you as much as you need us.
I want to say just one more thing real quickly on the messaging thing. I don't want to back this up too far. But I think all of us have been really inspired by the elections just last week. Was that last week? Yeah. Before Ohio, there was Kansas. We have a real opportunity, and not just an opportunity like, oh, maybe, but it's happening all around us in neighboring states to take back the word freedom. And freedom was a rallying cry for the right for a long time because they meant freedom from any sort of oversight. But in this case, it's freedom from true government overreach, the most invasive government overreach. And, you know, I strongly believe that abortion is going to be on the ballot a year from now, and that issue, as far as I'm concerned, is all about freedom. Freedom over your own bodily autonomy. So, you know, it worked in Kansas, it worked in Ohio. Obviously, we saw in Ohio, what did it beat Biden by 10, maybe? So these are people who don't vote Democrat, but they vote freedom. And I think that we have an opportunity there.
But we've done that with the initiative petition in Missouri. Right to work, Medicaid expansion, so it's possible. We just have to get the right messaging, the right issues out there to be able to take back these things.
Any other questions? This is great.
So if there's no other question, I just have one other anecdotal thing to say as it relates to some of the things that we just mentioned. So I had coffee with a gentleman last night on the side. I run a nonprofit, and we were meeting about that. And you know, we hadn't seen each other in a while, but I knew kind of his voting record, and he's a Republican and votes historically Republican in those districts, but he's in my district. And I mentioned to him, we were talking about where we were going to meet, at Starbucks there at 141 in Clayton. And I said, you know, I don't want to be creepy, but I actually know where you live because I knocked on your door. And he said, you know, that's all right, because I wasn't really going to take the conversation into politics last night. But I did, and he said, you know what, I typically vote Republican, but I voted for you. And he said, the important thing that I want you to know about that is I voted for you because I believe in you as a person, not because of the D or the R by your name. And I think that's really important for everyone in this room to understand as we go out and we talk to our neighbors and our friends about politics, that it's, you know, and I will say we have a strong slate of candidates up here who, as individuals, are really good people. You know, I don't look at Democrat. You know, I look at us as individual folks who have families here, who have grown up here, who really want to make a difference in our state, and that's what we've got to combine with the messaging that fits on a bumper sticker. And you'll convert folks who historically have voted, you know, Republican, and we won't convert everybody, but if you convert enough of them, in my case, it's converting 92 of them. You know, but in some cases, that's all that you need. So I just want to leave everybody with that I had coffee with a guy who's historically Republican, and he voted for me last time. He said he's going to vote for me again. So there is hope.
Well, I can just add to that. So I worked for the Drury family for 29 years. They are uber Republicans. They're supporting me. And Dave Dreves, who writes for the Missouri Scout, had a little article that basically said the uber Republicans family, the Drury family, is supporting Joe. That they must really feel and care good about what he could do in the state. And candidly, with all the calls that I make, some of the best calls are to some of my Republican friends who live in the district, who basically say, similar to you, I'm going to do something I thought I would never do in my life. I'm going to donate to a Democrat, and I'm going to vote for a Democrat. But really, Joe, I'm voting for you. You just happen to have a D by your name. So it's critical that we get out and we knock on a whole lot of doors and just tell people who we are and what we stand for, and that we're there for them.
Yeah. There's a lot of you know, at the state fair, I always go to the Republican tent. It's not here to recruit. I've already got the people in the other one. There was this guy a few years ago, and he was in the tent, and I was there. There's a big Donald Trump cutout, and this guy, you know, he's looking at the lit. And honestly, I was thinking about my friend who loves to collect campaign literature. She's got a whole binder of it. So I'm going through it, I'm picking it out, and this guy gets there, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get in your way, thinking that he was looking through. And he said, well, now, to be honest with you, very loud. To be honest with you, I don't like any of these people. I'm like, oh, well, okay. Well, what's going on? And he said, well, you know, I mean, I'm just looking for somebody that I can actually trust to vote for. And I said, well, hi, my name's Elijah. And so we started talking, and, you know, he was like, oh, yeah, I'm really into it. He does cybersecurity for a living, and I got to talk a lot about that because our state, lots of issues there. And at the end of the conference, so, you know, there's this young kid who's like working as an intern, is trying to like intervene because it's very loud how critical he is, especially of Mike Parson. Some things I can't confirm, so I won't say on camera. And you know, so he just won't shut up. And he finally says, "Oh well, you know what? you sound pretty good. Where's your literature? I said, well, it's actually over in the Democratic tent. He said, what are you doing here? I said, well, I wanted to talk to you. And so he couldn't believe he was bringing his son over and everything else. He went over, because I got corn dogs or something else. I don't know what I was getting. But he went over to the tent and got my lip. He actually did. And so he went, and we've been friends on LinkedIn ever since. Talks to me all the time about stuff. Some of his opinions or whatever. We still agree. But what was crazier than that, and this is why I talk a lot about the interactions that we have with each other. And you talked a lot about community. And communities, what we're really all trying to build together, right? While he was there, he was having this discussion, there was another young kid in high school from Marshall, Missouri. And he was working there. He had a whole, like, Bush, Reagan thing, all this stuff, all decked out. He was listening to the entire conversation. And he also went over to the Democratic tent. And he said, there was this guy, he said he was running for Attorney General, he's really short, and he sounded really good. And they said, oh yeah, this is it. And we've been talking ever since. I mean, I've seen him, he's graduated now, thinking about the military and everything else. But it's really the interactions that we're having with each other, and I'm sure that's the reason why folks are looking at, you or everybody else here, is because they're seeing that we actually do care, and we're accessible, and we're there for folks, and we want to have those conversations. So that part, this relational organizing, which is a fancy word for just saying making friends with a whole bunch of people, that's a job that we all have to do to build this party together. That's what the Democratic Party should be in Missouri. And that's really all of our job to make sure it gets done. So this is great. All of these things are great. There are a lot of folks who want to belong to something. They want folks to care about them. They want a government that works for them. And we just have to build that community together. That's the most important thing we're building here.
The one ask I'll leave you all with is, if you're not going to knock on our door, knock on doors with us or contribute money, but do it, still do it. Tell your friends to help and funnel them into our campaigns and help them help us, because that's really what's going to flip seats. It was surprising to me sometimes how few people would show up and say, hey, we're knocking doors this weekend. We did 5 or 6 people, but if we had 10 people, or 12 people, or 20 people, we would actually flip these seats. So that's my humble answer.
Oh, good. I can't thank you enough. You are all so very busy.
Thank you.
King,
Yes.
talk to us. It's wonderful. So we'll be following you, rooting for you, hopefully dancing for you, and all those other kinds of things. Thank you.